adventure last week with you guys inside of Mavathor's Forge. I guess Mavathor, your temporary headquarters down in Avernus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys had been...
Hello.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's just... I got you. You guys had been shunted into the Shadowfell after...
Did that cut out for everyone or just me?
Just you, I think.
Just you, I think, yeah. After interrupting a ritual by a cult of Vecna, you rescued 2 of the 4 missing residents of Neverwinter that Lord Neverember had implored you to search for. And in interrupting this ritual, you were shunted into the Shadowfell, merged in some coffins in this dark reflection of the material plane. Encountered some undead possessed by whatever dark magics Vecna is weaving through the multiverse currently. And instead of finding a portal back to the material plane, you attempted to engage some of your own personal magics and eventually ended up down in Avernus. So now you guys are down here in Mavathor's Forge. Your head forge woman, Lazel, you had a conversation with, and now you guys are, I think, planning to try and find the Red Belvedere, the casino that you have heard of, that Windfall possibly is resigned herself to after your last combat encounter with her. But I'll just turn you guys loose in the forge here, and you can talk about what you would like to do next.
I think it might be a good idea if we take a long rest.
Yeah, I figured you guys would probably do as much, but you know, the way we can do rests is we can just fast forward, or you know, it's also a time for you guys to, you know, speak to each other, roleplay with each other, re-ground yourselves.
Mercy. Yeah, Mercy has a promise to keep to Lepus, so
yeah, Lep is gonna hold you to that.
while she is seeking medical attention.
What was that promise?
To speak to Fangs on his behalf.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Well, the dungeon master's just gonna be quiet now, so.
I was gonna say, I think Lilith wants to talk to both Mercy and Mavathor during this long rest.
Yeah, sure.
So.
Go ahead. The unless you have anything else
Because I had
to...
originally planned for Mercy to also talk to Jin and Blitz.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys can kind of throw yourself down in the forge if you want to here. You know, Lazel is obviously there at your service at any time, Mavathor as well. And there are a few other fire giants still in Lazel's employ that she trusts, who are just sort of, you know, working away on their projects down here. And yeah, maybe I'll just be quiet for now, and then if maybe I'll have some questions from Mavathor throughout the course of the session.
Yeah.
One side note, since we are in a weapons forge here, I don't know if they would find it interesting, but Mercy took off her cloak, so everyone can now see the shining metal stick attached to her back.
Is that a staff?
This is a very nice contraption. What does it do?
Does it shoot fireballs? Or like ice strikes? Or like thunderbolts?
All of those
It
would be
shoots
very
something, and
fun.
when it hits people, they die.
So like a crossbow.
It's like magic.
Yes and no to both.
Does Lae'zel seem piqued by this contraption on Mercy's back?
Yeah, Lae'zel probably sees it. But she would not be one to sort of speak out of turn. You probably see her eye it out of the corner of her eye and sort of gaze at it uh, with some interest. But she won't interrupt you for the time being.
Well, while we are all standing here, Lilith,
Yes.
might I speak with Fangs for a moment?
Why, of course.
Yes, Lepis, you did very well. I keep my word.
Yes, I did it.
Yes, you did. Good boy.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's going to cast Commune with Beast and kneel down to Fang's eye level.
I think Things just kind of looks at you and wags her tail.
Just, hello, friend.
Why, hello.
Might I pet you?
I wouldn't say no to a pet.
She'll just reach out and kind of scritch behind her ear.
Things kind of nuzzles into you.
Aww.
Do you see the bright one here, making the odd noises?
Yes, he is a strange one.
He wishes to lay hands upon your person and pet you as well. Would this be permissible?
Very well.
Anyone who may not.
Eh,
Other
I
than
don't
enemies.
see why not. Maybe not enemies. I think everyone else is fine though.
Very well, and thank you. If you do not wish pets from someone, let me know. Or your
My
mistress,
pleasure.
obviously.
Oh, she is not my mistress. She is my friend.
Mistress can have very many meanings, but fair enough.
Missy, what they say? Can I?
She'll give Fangs another scritch and then stand and step up back and motion him forward. You have permission.
Yeah, Lep goes on his knees and he like very tentatively holds out a hand. I think slightly scared because of how ferocious Fang might look. But goes
Things
to
just goes full like puppy dog and like nuzzles into your hand.
Lep just starts petting him.
What are the
nice.
what are the leash laws now like in Avernus, Mavathor? It's like a $500 fine. Five 2 soul coins.
No hellhounds in public places.
You have to,
Strict,
if you don't pick up
strict
after
no
your
brimstone
hellhound-
policy in restaurants.
Gonna have to
Yeah,
find
you
a
have-
dog bar now.
Yeah, you have to pick up after your hellhound. If you don't, that's another 3 soul coin fine.
It's like going fishing. If they're above a certain weight and height, they have to be leashed.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, what? You don't throw them back?
Just the little ones.
Lilith is gonna turn to Mercy and be like, lycanthropy. That is something I haven't seen since while I was home in Barovia.
You do not sound as though you are especially homesick.
I don't think I could ever go back there if I wanted to.
I must say I am curious that none of you seem put off by my nature. Is this something common where you're from?
Where I'm from, we have many lycanthropes. We have werewolves, were ravens especially. They seem to be a sort of savior to the Barovians.
Lycanthropes met great tragedies in the near, not too long ago past. They are cousins to my kind.
Mm. Have you always been like this? If you don't mind me asking.
With the form shifting? With the form shifting or something else?
Yeah, when you transform, has it always been like that?
Yes, it is our race. Our numbers were also severely dwindled when our cousins were hunted.
Mm.
But this is how we are. It
Oh,
is no curse, it is simply nature.
I apologize for the loss of your people.
Unfortunately, there will always be those who think lesser of others.
Trust me, I know that one. Um, and then I think Lilith's gonna get up and kind of give a soft smile to Lep and Mercy and then head over to Mavathor.
I think you see Lep, having not listened to any of your conversation, has just fallen in love with Fang.
Fangs just stands where she is, enjoying the pets.
You see Mavathor is currently talking to Lizelle, and they seem to be talking about Blitz, but in slightly hushed tone. But as you approach, he'll kind of, waver off and turn to Lilith.
This is a very nice home you have here. It's very different from Barovia.
Yeah,
Very
it's
bright.
well, it's just bright in here because of all the magma. It's not as bright outside.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Did you grow up here?
No, I grew up on the material plane, and it's a long story, but I ended up here, helped previous Archduke return to the light, and Asmodeus saw her more as a tool than anything else, and decided that I would be an appropriate replacement for her due to my dedication.
Well, it seems like you've had quite an adventure.
Yes. And I made some friends along the way, but seems like they're dead now, so the only one from that time is Lep. Kind of glances over at Lep, apparently having the time of his life.
He seems like he's a good friend.
Friend might be a strong word to use, but I'm willing to use the term ally. He's most definitely an ally.
Hmm. Well, it seems he is very fond of you.
Too much sometimes, I fear, but
He seems like he could be a bit much at times.
yeah, he does have the goodness of his heart, but
Mm.
let's hope we don't have to spend, or well, let's hope he himself doesn't have to spend too long in Avernus, because the Nine Hells have a tendency to bring out the worst in people.
Mm. I've heard that tieflings tend to not be the most well received in the material plane. Is that correct?
Yeah, a good amount of the time people see the devilish features associated with tieflings and immediately greet them with a superstition, more often
Yeah,
than not negative.
it's the same with the vampires. Not all of us are bad, but people are quick to judge things they don't understand.
Yes, we actually found a objectively, I guess you could say, good vampire here in Avernus. He was hanging on by a thread of his life, and we ultimately had to release him from his torment here. But from what I heard, he did good.
Mm. There are good vampires in the world, just like I'm sure there are also good tieflings. But yeah, I grew up with that whole stereotype thing. Not fun.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, I see that you were in discussion with your friend here, and I will leave you to it. And then she'll stand up and just walk away.
Okay.
Um, you know, before the Blood Wars, Avernus used to be this sort of tantalizing paradise created by Asmodeus to tempt mortals. And the Blood Wars began, and it became this desolate wasteland. It kind of is now. I imagine over time it will start to sort of adapt to its new Archduke. How has or has it at all began to change the landscape of Avernus? What do you have the devils left under your command doing to Avernus's landscape? Are they reforming it anyway in your image or?
Yeah, well, since, Avernus was at one point in paradise, and that was Asmodeus's, kind of vision for it, he's been having the landscape, uh, kind of evened out to, be where it is not mountainous to be more flat, to remove some of the probably huge amount of bones scattering the wasteland, and for grasses to be put in place. They're not, green lush grass. They're the kind of like, dead, very dry grass, but it's it's a step in the right direction.
Because of the nature of devils, they're always clamoring for rank. Even amongst their own. During the course of the Blood Wars, many devils sort of defected from the main body of Zariel's armies, and the wastelands, now have a myriad of warlords, sort of roaming about in droves. What do you have any dictations for what is to be done about these warlords, or?
Yeah, so since he knows that devils tend to be quite prideful, instead of villainizing them, he would attempt to tempt them into, willing service, particularly helping to deal with the undead issue currently arising from the River Styx, in return for soul coin as payment.
Um, Give me a. I guess. Um, I mean, since you're tempting them, it's not really an intimidation, right? So maybe give me a persuasion check. I'd say probably about 60% of these warlords have come and answered the call and have started sort of rejoined you and have taken up this mission. But there's still a good 40% of them that are a bit lawless around Avernus. What of those ones? What is the order for those who don't respect the new Archduke's rule?
They. If you're not joining the armies of Avernus, then you're better off dead.
Okay.
So, all the major warlords will have a bounty on them for a handsome sum of soul coins.
Okay.
Uncle Mavafor needs you to join the Blood War.
And another part of his ruling is he would order the construction of a major hub near the River Styx that functions as both a trade hub and a bastion for Devilkind.
Okay. Does this bastion have a name?
It's as of yet undecided. He's letting the denizens of the Nine Hells to determine a fitting name for it.
Can you check your DMs for me real quick, Wolf? I just sent you a private message.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's probably under pretty good construction. Lozelle says she sort of looks over Blitz and she says I think something can be done for your request. These are interesting. She's an interesting creature.
Yes. They seem to be constructs with a soul tied to them, and quite effective soldiers, as it seems from what I've heard from my companions here.
Well, I notice a correlation between this creature and this alien weapon that one of your new friends is wearing on their back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would. Both of these things I've never seen before. They almost seem as though they are not of this world. This construct is seamless, and that weapon your new companion carries, I can't say I've seen anything quite like it.
Well, I'm kind of lean in and whisper, this might just be the edge we're looking for in the Blood War. If we can surprise the demons with something truly unique and powerful, I think we might actually have a chance of excising the cancer known as the Abyss forever.
Do we have permission to take this construct apart?
I mean, the construct itself is an individual, so whatever will have a say, but if we can convince the construct that it would be a truly good cause, that examining it would be, I think we can convince them.
How audible is that particular conversation?
You can make a perception check. It was indicated that it was whispered. 15.
I mean, giants aren't really known for being quiet.
Yeah, you can probably hear Lazelle's half her conversation, her whispered voice is still quite an outdoor voice.
Um, but that would draw Jin's attention.
Yeah.
At which point he would walk over and to you and say, "I would prefer you not dismantle my companion, if it is all the same. I worked very hard to put her together in the first place."
He'll look to Jin and say, would disassembling her mean the death of her?
There's a number of intricacies involved in her creation. I could not say for certain if she would survive such a dismantling.
Lizelle says, if we cannot pick her apart, perhaps you could be more forthcoming with how she was forged.
I would prefer not to, if it's all the same to you. I can tell that you and your companions are not from the same material plane as ours, so perhaps you were unaware, but in my home world very recently finished a long and brutal conflict where many lives were lost at the hands of such weapons. I suspect that you would find the result here to be unsatisfactory. There are, however, there are other means with which to wage war that perhaps you are unaware.
It sounds as though you are underestimating my skill and intelligence.
Also,
Perhaps.
the denizens of the Nine Hells have been waging war since time immemorial. I highly doubt there's nothing they can't see or handle.
All the same, I would appreciate it if you not dismantle Blitz. I would be quite put out.
If my lord commands that you will remain untouched.
Well, let me put it this way. If, for whatever reason, the armies of Avernus are to fail, the world of your material plane will be summarily destroyed by demons and shoved into the abyss. Does that sound like an appealing prospect against the potential loss of one friend?
No. However, if that could become a more prescient issue, I suspect that our combined, suspect that the combined efforts of both your world and mine may bring forth a more effective solution than the disassembly of a sentient being.
Correct. But by disassembly of this being, we would be able to procure an army that will ensure such an event doesn't need to occur.
I would advise looking into alternative solutions before that one. There are other weapons that that perhaps would be of use to you.
Such as?
And he pulls out this a strange object that you've seen him fire beams of something in the previous encounter like this. It has this sort of rectangular metallic piece with some sort of rotating cylinder attached to a like a small hand crossbow stock. And this is Penumbra. It has been a one of my primary weapons in previous conflict. It is a projectile weapon unlike any crossbow you have ever seen.
Lazel holds her big hand down. She says, may I inspect it closer?
I very carefully hand it over.
Is this like a biometric weapon? Does it only fire for Jin?
It does require attunements. So in a sense, yes, it is a biometric weapon.
She sort of turns it over in her palm and brings it close to her face, and she picks it up between her fingers and like looks down the barrel. She does everything you're not supposed to do with a firearm.
Yeah. Well, when she looks down the barrel, like Jin starts, holds up. Wait, don't. Perhaps when we have a spare moment, Mercy and I can explain some very basic principles regarding the safety and operation of such weapons.
She says, what is its projectile that is used? I cannot discern how it fires.
I put my hand out. If you will, I could demonstrate.
Yeah, she hands it back to you.
And with his left hand, he points. It looks for like a suitable target that won't be missed.
Yeah, there's a big fell iron wall off to one side of the forge.
Okay. He reaches in, he pulls out a dragon shard and slots it into the cylinder and closes it up, and then points in that direction and pulls the trigger with a very satisfying.
You see, Lazel, one of her eyebrows kind of goes up, and she says, powerful energy resonance from such a small weapon. What was that you placed in the chamber to make it fire?
They are called. We call them dragon shards. They are, to my knowledge, not native to Faerun. I had spent a good 2 years adjusting my own form of magic to function within the weave. But on my home plane, most of our magical technology and magic in general are powered by these shards.
Lazel says, you have referred to this creature as a sentient being, but I can sense the same energy emanating from her as from these shards you speak of.
Yes, it is true. Over the course of their development, we deter. Man, where are my words today?
I felt that.
We discovered that among the energy sources available to us, dragon shards were the most efficient for the use and powering and application of Warforged technology.
Well, if you don't have, you won't give us permission to take your friend apart. Perhaps you have one of these dragon shards you could lend me to study further. I sense now that the power of these weapons from another world must be these shards and not the things themselves.
I pull out a dragon shard, and I look at Mavafore and I say, for the in gratitude for our extraction from the Grotto Fell and your continued hospitality. I hand the dragon shard over to.
Yeah, he'll nod and look to Lae'zel and say it seems to be somewhat similar in theory to soul coin. Perhaps you could create a modified weapon that functions off of soul coins.
She places the dragon shard down on her giant anvil, and she pulls out like a large sort of looking glass from her pocket, and she starts to sort of peer down over the shard, and she says, well, I would say that these are not the same as soul coins. Soul coins are a prison for the essence of a living being. These dragon shards contain some sort of foreign magic that I've never had the pleasure of working with. But they do radiate a great amount of power. I would just have to find a way to properly harness it with the materials at my disposal. I'll have to test and see how it responds to infernal iron.
I have no doubt whatever you create will surely prove quite powerful.
Lizelle, she nods at Eugene and says, thank you for this gift. I haven't come across something this interesting in some time.
Simple payment of a debt, and to ensure that my companion remains as she is. With a nod and a bow, Jin will go back to his little corner overlooking the lava.
Anyone else have anything they want to exchange amongst each other? Any relationship building you guys want to do?
I think Mercy said she had something.
Yeah.
Mercy had been planning to talk to Jin and Blitz.
Oh, yeah.
And pick their brains.
Yeah, sure.
So once Blitz steps away, Mercy's going to kind of approach him instead. Jin, you worked in the war, yes?
Yes, I did. One of many.
If possible, I need you to get me anything you know on the Lord of Blades and the Mournlands.
Ah. Yes, I will see this done when our travels allow for it.
Greatly appreciate it. Something about that place and what happened just still does not sit right with me.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would probably be something that Jin would have to investigate when you guys eventually return to Eberron, you know? As far as, like, the timeline goes, Jin and Blitz were probably already on Toril on the day of mourning. So you probably would have been, you know, on Eberron on the day of mourning. You could make I don't even think you would need to make a history check. I can tell you what you would know probably about the Lord of Blades. Near the end of the 100 Years' War, before the Gilnakis Accords were signed, sort of solidifying the truce between the five nations on Eberron. The Lord of Blades started sort of collecting other Warforged, building a collective of Warforged, convincing them to abandon whatever their mission was in the war and join him. And on the day of mourning, the Lord of Blades disappeared into the Mournlands with all of his collected Warforged. And you were probably the first to see him since. So that's what you would know about
Alrighty.
the Lord of Blades, Mercy.
Yeah, she was just thinking since, given their professions, Jin and Blitz might have been able to provide a different insight or maybe something that was maybe less commonly known to try and help piece that all together. She's
Well-
just looking for any information she can.
Yeah, I mean, this could possibly be, depending on how, Jin has been, I mean, and from my perspective so far, sort of not particularly forthcoming. So I guess this is a time where you could make an insight check, and Jin, if you're not wanting to reveal more information about Blitz or the Warforged in general, you could make a deception check to just sort of accept Mercy's request without having to elaborate.
I'm unclear what Blitz's connection would be to the Lord of Blades with the information I have.
Well, the Lord of
At
Blades has a
my
connection to the
disposal.
Warforged, and the Warforged, you have a connection to the Warforged, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. He has a connection to the Warforged as a whole, or just a subset group of it?
I would say since you helped in the creation of Blitz, you would know things about the Warforged that most people don't.
Okay. Then, yes, we will go ahead and roll, because some of those are secrets. Yeah, he's,
Oh my
You've had you've had
Happy roll versus crappy roll.
he distracted by the mark a little bit, but he's perhaps not as skillful with his deception as he might otherwise be. As he says, yes, there is some connection between the Lord of Blades and the Warforged, but I'm not really the best person to ask about that. I don't think. Yeah, that was a really bad one.
Mercy, you've had interactions briefly with Jin in the past, and you've worked, together briefly at times through your connections from the houses back on Eberron, in missions that you came together in one way or another. Jin has always been sort of a straight to the point, not information that is necessary is the only information that should be conveyed. And you get the impression that this is just one of those interactions.
Yes, he doesn't. It's rare that he lies. You find, but oftentimes, if there's a truth that he doesn't want you to know, he will simply, refrain from speaking it or deflect in some manner.
Yeah.
But rarely does he ever outright lie.
She's just gonna look at Jin for a moment and then just kind of place a hand on his shoulder. I understand you have your secrets. I merely wish to fulfill my contract and avenge my family. I trust that anything you choose to tell me or not is up to you, but anything you do will not leave my lips. We all have secrets, Jin.
I understand
I
your
will not pry.
situation. Testing, Mike.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
I understand your situation, perhaps better than most. However, in this case, there are secrets that are not mine to give, as well as there are facts related to the Lord of Blades uh, that time should leave buried for good reason. I will, with all of my power, assist you in other ways. However, I ask in this instance that you not press me on this any further.
I think Blitz may end up actually becoming like an NPC, just depending on how things go. But you could speak to Blitz as well if you wanted to, Mercy.
I think Mercy has interacted with them enough that if this is how Jin's responding, she's just going to respect that. In this instance, all she'll say is she'll just request from you that if there is something that he thinks would be relevant at any point, but does not feel comfortable speaking, if he would perhaps try to put her in the right direction of who she would need to speak, if he is capable of doing that.
Do I, DM, have just sort of any lead that I can give her? Just something tangential that doesn't, you know.
Yeah, you could tell her that the real people that she would want to talk to learn everything she could possibly want to know about the Lord of Blades is House Kenneth.
Yeah, that's right. Could you find the time? I suspect many answers that you are seeking would lie within House Kenneth.
I appreciate that, Jin. I'll ask no further of you.
My thanks.
Now, I don't know about the rest of us. I have a splitting headache and I'm tired of tasting my own blood. Navathor, might I bother you for a bed?
And he'll nod and say yes. There's living quarters down the stairs over there. The guy at the party over here.
Yeah. The Forge is a larger complex, but this is the only map I threw down for it. So. There are like living quarters and stuff like that. You guys are sort of in a big pyramid somewhere in the central part of Avernus's scorched, barren landscape. Lepus, you spend some time petting Fangs. Is there anything that's on your mind, or
I think towards the end of the long rest, because he only needs 4 hours in a trance. He'll make breakfast, aka casting Hero's Feast.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine he's just up before everyone else, just trying to get some food and stuff ready for them. Keep his mind off of everything.
As you guys are having your long rest, Lilith, you have a fitful sleep. You know, the lots happened in the short time that you've been out of Barovia. And, you know, this all began with a confrontation with some companions that you made back in Barovia, on the rooftops of Castle Ravenloft. I think you dream of your companions one by one being tossed from the parapets of Strahd's castle to their deaths on the stones far below. As you're like looking down at them all broken on the stones, you know, with rain coming down, patting on the castle walls, that sort of what you mentioned about the ravens sort of creeps into your dreams, and you know, these flocks of ravens come down and carry off your companions' bodies one by one. And you have a hard time resting. You toss and turn in the forge's living quarters all night. And you're not sure if it's being out of Barovia or just these terrible visions that you don't seem to be able to keep out of your mind, but it prevents you from gaining a long rest.
Are our living quarters like separated, or is it just like a big bunker?
No, there's separate rooms.
Okay.
There are larger common rooms with bunks in them and stuff. It's kind of like a military base in some parts, but there are more comfortable quarters that Mavathor leads you into. We have separate rooms.
Okay, cool.
Is there any particular reason you ask?
Oh, I was just gonna say if there's anyone else in there with her, they'd probably hear like whimpering in her sleep.
I think Fangs just spends most of the night outside of your door, heavily panting. They can sense your restlessness in your sleep. It puts Fangs on high alert all night, even though the trouble is in your mind. And at some point, while you are making breakfast there, Lepus, you feel a warm sensation on your left hand where your ring is. Like a soft pulsing vibration from the ring that you wear.
Light.
It's like a soothing sensation.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lep looks at it and he smiles. I mean, there's not much he can do.
Someone somewhere out there in the Feywilds is trying to let you know that they're safe.
if he's able to send a similar pulsating thing he does.
Yeah, you do for sure. In the morning, Mavathor, Lazil's let you know that she has contacted some of her friends that she spends time with when she's engaging in her extracurricular activities. And she has called for someone to come and pick you all up and take you to the Red Belvedere whenever you deem that you are ready to leave.
Right. So as the group forms up to eat Love's breakfast, you'll go ahead and cast Aid at 4th level, so everyone add plus 15 to your hit point maximum.
Ooh.
Ooh.
With your permission, I would like to use the long rest to add greater invisibility to my spellbook.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun.
Ooh.
And I would like to set up a contingency using greater invisibility.
Yeah, what is that?
Could I be targeted with a spell? Contingency will trigger casting greater invisibility on myself.
What is
Contingency?
like a spell or ability that you have for your
It's
class?
a programmable trigger condition. So you cast it and you can set it so it when something happens it will cast a spell for you.
Is that like a spell or like a class feature or something though?
No, it's a 6th level spell.
Oh, okay, cool, nice. Yeah, for sure, you do so, no problem. Targeted with a spell. Does that include like an innate?
We'll say hostile spell.
Okay, hostile spell.
Or
something that requires like an attack roll or saving throw.
something that requires a saving throw.
A saving throw. Okay.
We'll say.
Okay.
Hey Ryan,
Let's
real
see.
quick. Could I roll hit dice? Even though like I didn't get a long rest.
Yeah, you can spend your hit dice like you had a short
Okay,
rest.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we are aided and hero feasted. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much was the hero's feast?
9.
And aid was at what, 4th level? You said
So 15, so
23.
24.
Getting pumped up.
We buffed. After hero's feast.
Lazel let you know, Mamathor, that her companions will pick you up outside of the forge within the hour, if you wish.
Yeah, he'll say that's appropriate and
I also, I guess, Lazel's spent some time in the Red Belvedere. Would there be anything you would want to ask her about the place?
Yeah. Does she know Windfall at all?
Yeah, Lazel says, to be honest, she's quite a dazzling spectacle of a woman. She spends much of her time, when I've seen her, in the her establishment, schmoozing with the clientele. You know, she makes her presence known whenever she's there.
And where does she usually hang out?
She says, I've seen her perform several times in the lobby of the casino. She makes her way throughout the establishment, and sometimes she'll participate in frivolity, you know. I do know that, I suppose you could call it a high rollers club beneath the casino, where I believe she has some private offices as well. I've never been down there, however.
Well,
You have to earn your way into the High Rollers Club, and I've never been so lucky, as you are acutely aware, Lord.
yeah. I'm sure they'd be willing to allow the Archduke of Avernus down there.
I would say that the inhabitants of the Red Belvedere don't necessarily adhere to the same hierarchy order that we do out here in Avernus. The Red Belvedere seems to fall under complete control of Windfall, and anyone in her employ seem to be quite loyal.
Well, I guess I'll just have to be on guard then.
I would know.
Oh, that's true. We only have the Lich God looking over us at all times, apparently.
She says, if you're going to try to earn your way into the High Rollers Club, I suggest you bring some gold or some soul coins. They can be exchanged for the proprietary currency of the Red Belvedere Casino. They only allow you to gamble with their own chips, if you will.
Understood. Are there any particular games there that you've noticed has a higher probability of winning?
She says, well, you can make the highest singular bets on the horse races. Moderate most of the other games. But they are all different, and I suppose they would, be catered to individuals' particular skill sets. You can also win quite a bit of talons in the arena. It's an exciting place, and you can make side bets with people in the crowd as well. Most of the people that I've seen earn their way into the High Rollers Club have impressed one of the pit lords in some way or another.
Could you earn the currency by participating in the arena?
You can earn currency by participating in the arena. It would probably be the quickest path into the High Rollers room. Respect of the pit lord that oversees the Scarlet Colosseum.
Look to the others and says, well, who feels like fighting?
I always look for a good fight.
Do we have to?
No, but
To play the slots.
we all know the slot machines are rigged.
That's always
yeah.
wins.
Maybe blackjack. I don't get to have fun like this very often.
Yeah,
Uh,
It
there's
is
the
the
way I
most
live.
effective way to the shortest path to our destination. Then
Lazel looks over
by all
at you,
means.
Lep, and she says, "If you're looking to have some fun, you could place a bet for me."
Oh,
She
Oh,
kind of looks
side
over. She
eye.
kind of looks over at Mavathor like,
He like side eyes her and just be like, "I thought we discussed
"Ah,
this."
sorry.
oh.
Uh, but she sort of like touches her finger to her nose, and she says, "I hear Sunshroud is going to be running hot today," and she like taps her nose to you. But
Okay.
Someone's got to have their fix, right? Yeah, I will start the day casting Mage Armor and Non-Detection.
Sounds good. Yeah. And then there's like a rumbling sound. You can hear sort of echoing out. Part of the forge is sort of open air, and you can like hear a rumbling out in the distance, and you kind of can gaze out in the direction and see a bit of the landscape of Avernus, and you can see in sort of a barreling cloud of red dust, this like angular metal vehicle making its way towards the forge at a high speed. And Lazel says, "Oh, looks like your ride is here."
And you don't have dragon charts in this world. I'm curious.
Well, these contraptions are powered by soul coins and forged of infernal iron. You might hear a few screaming pleas for some sort of saving from the engines as you travel. Just ignore those.
I see.
Three winged devils fly up sort of to the ledge and sort of land. One of them says, "You called Lazel?" And Lazel sort of grins at her, and she says, "Yes, Nakaya. I need you to take the Archduke and his friends to the Red Belvedere." And, the woman smiles and she says, "Of course, your chariot awaits, Lord. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Nakaya, and these are my companions, Crippus and Mikhail." And the other two sort of nod. "A pleasure, Lord," and they both sort of bow low to you, Mamathor.
Yeah, he'll give a curt nod before stepping onto the infernal machine.
You guys make your way down, get on this big ol' hell machine, and Nakia sort of saddles up in the cockpit, and she puts on a pair of goggles, and she says, "Well, if you're ready, buckle up, or don't. It's your life." And she revs the engine and just starts ripping across the wasteland as the bike sort of rumbles across Avernus. Nakia just makes a bit of small talk with you, Mamathor. She says, "It's impressive how you ended the battle there with the Bloodlords and redeemed that angel. I dare say they'll be talking about it here in Avernus for decades to come. Ever since tides have turned, the demons have been cowering away in the shadows.
Yes, but they'll be back. I have no doubt of this.
Well, there are pockets of them milling about here or there. Hopefully, we don't bump into any. And as she's sort of ripping across the wasteland, the landscape's kind of blowing by. You see, sort of off in the distance, off to the left, you see, like, you pass Mad Maggie's fort just jutting up out of the landscape, and she's sort of barreling along. Up ahead, there's like a lava flow with just this like very narrow little land bridge connecting the 2 points. And she says, "All right, well, hold on to your butts." And she sort of guns it as she goes to like drive across. And to the right side of you guys as you're traveling, there's like a big sort of cliff face that's maybe 60 feet high, and there are little gaps in the stones. It's like an area that they haven't really gotten to yet, which would probably be something that Mavathor would want flattened out. And as she's like gunning it towards this little land bridge, there's like a Jurassic Park style. There's like this thundering, feels almost like a small earthquake, and then thundering out from one of these gaps in the walls, this massive Minotaur-esque looking creature that's about 20 feet tall, just like runs out from between these two cracks. And Nakia tries to like slam on the brakes, but it happens so fast that this demon crushes the front of the war machine and just ejects everybody out.
Featherfall?
Yeah, you can feather
Just
fall. You're not going to fall too far, but as you're kind of slow motion, seeing the ground beneath you coming quickly to meet your face.
Just to spare everyone the impact.
Sure. The three winged ladies, they take to the air. This minotaur-looking demon, it has like this big sort of tent-like thing on its back as it's rumbling forward, and and then like flying out of the cracks are these two dark winged, sort of vulture-like creatures. And as you guys get knocked out of the vehicle, you can all select your tokens and roll initiative.
Why does it always have to be demons?
Demons and devils, those are your choices in Avernus.
Oh,
Well, I gotta say, I didn't expect to be hit by a demon deer tonight.
Why did the demon cross the road? I don't know, but I'm about to kill it.
Well, you have no idea how lousy the deer are around here. They'll walk out in front of you just like it's their place,
Yeah.
and why are you in their way?
Yep. Deer, foxes, raccoons.
You guys can make some perception checks as you roll your initiative as well.
yeah.
Damn, Mavathor keep getting all these high rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like we're in his domain.
You think a 600-year-old elf would be mildly perceptive?
Yeah.
I don't know, at what point do elves start getting old man syndrome?
Probably right around the 500 mark would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their 6th century.
Your 2 centuries too young to be on my lawn. Get off.
Roll for these guys. You guys can see that as these thunderous footsteps sort of shake the ground, and then this horned demon just crushes the front of their war machine. You see this sort of palanquin occupied by a few other demonic soldiers who sort of leap out down to the ground. And there are also these like little bug-like creatures that all fly out of a little basket. And then like below the tented structure that's on the thing's shoulders, there's like a big metal cage sort of hanging below it. And you guys can see trapped inside of there is this majestic sort of probably like soot-covered horse. But I think you would recognize it probably as a unicorn, Lepus. So these demons come out of the crags and stop your travels. And Mercy, you're up.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, this little guy shouldn't be here. Actually, before combat begins, let's take our mid-session break. We'll take a level 5 here.
Okay.
Time flies when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good time for a beer.